Hi guys, so let's just have a look what happened with Sarah Boone today. As we all know, and I put it on the community page as well, that Bankowitz requested a continuance which has been accepted. So, but I just wanted to just go over it quick, what happened today. Same routine, just before I go any further. Quick disclaimer, my name's Dawn. This is Lounge Bar Crime. Everything you hear in this video, it's from my own research, it's my opinion, and it's for entertainment purposes only. That out of the way, let's get to it. Yeah, so it's only a quick video, this carry on from last night really, because we didn't know, did we, if we was going to see any of them today, and we ended up seeing both of them. Whee! Anyway, so what do we think? How do you think she looks? Yeah, she's put weight on. She looks better in herself, doesn't she? She's not interacting at all with them cameras. She's keeping her face straight. She didn't look at the camera. I think in all of it, once there might have been when she was leaving. I don't know, I'll double check it. There might have been when she was leaving, like a quick glance over or in that direction, but yeah, she's not. She's keeping her head down.
State of Florida versus Sarah Boone, 2020 TF 2603. State of Florida.
Deputy Cacciatore on behalf of the state.
Defense.
Frank Bankowitz.
Let's go ahead and swear Ms. Boone in.
May you please raise your right hand and be sworn in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Morning, ma'am. Tell me your name and your date of birth.
Sarah Boone, October 10th, 1977.
All right, we're here for pre-trial conference today.
So Judge Wotton asks the prosecution if he's ready. They're ready. Of course they're ready. They've been ready forever, haven't they? And then asks Bankowitz. And of course Bankowitz wants a continuance. And he's saying that the reason he wants a continuance is trouble getting experts in the field of B-wife syndrome. So that's what he's having problems with, and apparently it's because of the rates. So obviously Sarah Boone is indigent, so she's not going to be paying for these. The state are, and they don't pay the same rates as for somebody would pay if they was getting a private attorney. So they've got set rates and that's it. So you're limited obviously with what experts that you can get for that. I think they're called JAC rates or something. I did have like I did do a little bit of research on it, but I'm not too sure, but that's what I can gather from it. It's they have a register or something, and their rates wouldn't be as high as if there was a private expert.
Mr. Cacciatore, where do you stand in preparing to proceed forward to trial?
State's ready, Your Honor.
Mr. Bankowitz, where do you stand in regards to preparing
I'm
for
sorry, the
trial?
defense is not ready. We're requesting a continuance. We are having difficult time finding an expert who is willing to work for the JAC rates. And so I'm still.
So Judge Wotton is asking Bankowitz how hard he's tried, really, what lengths he's gone to, and Bankowitz actually gives an interesting reply here. Really, the depths that he has gone to get expert witnesses. So it seems pretty clear that on this JAC register, there's nobody that he can just pick out, or he's got a choice. And yeah, he's gone to some pretty he's gone to some length. Listen to this.
So, Mr. Bankowitz, how deeply have you plumbed the depths of the pool of experts in this field to find out or find one who's willing to work for the JAC rate?
Well, I've actually talked to 3, and they don't have contracts with JAC and are not willing to work with JAC. And I've made some other inroads with battered woman shelters, trying to get their psychologists, who'd be willing. Problem is willing to testify, basically.
Okay. Because of the concern about the compensation rate for testimony?
Well, that's one of the things. And to be honest with you, this case has had so much notoriety that people don't want to be involved.
Okay.
So Judge Wotton actually, he is putting pressure on, but he makes the point to Bankowitz, and I don't know if this is for Sarah Boone's ears or not, but he more or less says that, okay, you might not get the defence that you want. I don't know how long that this is going to take, and if you get the experts at all, but because of the situation with the defence, with her not paying her own attorneys, in other words, that it doesn't mean she'll always get the defence that she wants.
So, Mr. Bankowitz, I'm certainly willing to give you additional time based on my understanding of the case. I understand why that would be a defense the defense would want to explore about potentially presenting. What I'm not sure about is whether the inability to find an expert forever delays the trial of the case.
I wouldn't expect it to be a forever delay, Judge. And you know me better than that.
Mr. Cacciatore, well, I just want to make sure everyone in the room understood that, I'll give reasonable amounts of time to prepare a defense. The defendant's entitled to an adequate defense, but they're not necessarily entitled to the exact defense they would prefer to have if resources were unlimited.
So I found this interesting. The prosecutor asked what kind of what need there was for this expert, and was it going to be for one to assess and give their opinion, or was it two to also help Sarah Boone in how to answer certain questions? And I thought that was interesting. Actually, I hadn't thought about that at all in this case. And well, I'll let you listen to what Bankowitz says to that.
If I could ask of the defense, because I think it would make a difference in the timing of the continuance in this case, does the defense intend to hire an expert to testify generally as to the precepts and the things that go along with battered spouse syndrome, or do they intend to hire an expert that will evaluate Mrs. Boone and want to comment on her directly? And the reason I ask that is because I think the case law is clear that if it's the latter thing, then the state is entitled to have her sit down with our own expert to be evaluated as well. So that would obviously take more time if that is going to be the path they're going to go.
Mr. Bankowitz, are you in a position to distinguish?
Number two is definitely what we're looking at, Judge. Although number one would be incorporated in that as far as their general ability and their expertise in the area.
Would you agree that if in fact you retain an expert and they're going to opine specifically on Ms. Boone's state of mind at the time of the incident, that opens the door for the state to also
most
have an
definitely.
expert? All right.
Most definitely.
Basically, they want this expert for both parts to give their opinion on an assessment of her situation and how she was feeling, but also to advise her on how to answer certain questions. Don't know. Well, I suppose, yeah, that's going to happen, isn't it? Don't really know if I agree with that, because if it was genuine, would she need any help in answering questions? Anyway, that's how the law works. So that's how it is. But the prosecution does say, as you've heard, that opens the door to they will then get an expert to assess her as well. So And I was listening, I was doing a bit of research further today on this bee wife syndrome. And a few people were saying, like, with regard, well, a few experts were sort of saying with regards to this situation with Sarah Boone, that they didn't feel that she was in that situation, let's say, in that normally when you get somebody in that situation, it normally comes about where, for example, if I don't know, say she's had a hard time, or reverse, he or she has had a hard time that day with their partner who has been violent in some way, then that kind of syndrome kind of happens, like, say, at night when they're in bed, so when the other one's asleep, and that they can't sleep because they're constantly going through this stress and this fear, and it just overwhelms them, and then they do something while they're asleep, like use a knife on them or something like that, because they can't do anything about it because they're asleep. So they just want to put an end to it, and that's an example of what that kind of syndrome is. Whereas in Sarah Boone's case, that didn't really appear the same type of thing, because, well, I suppose because of all the different evidence there was where she's goading him when he's in the suitcase, when George is in the suitcase, she's goading him, and quite a few things, and she's making telephone calls to Brian, she's trying to phone Brian. I know she's drunk, but it's just different. So we'll see how that goes. That will be interesting.
Mr. Cashel, let me ask you this. Let's say that turns out not to be an issue. We're not going to have two experts. How long would it otherwise take you to present your case? Just rough idea.
I would say 3 days.
And other than this potential defense, Mr. Bankowitz, and is that including jury selection, Mr. Cacciatore?
No, I probably 3.5 days with jury selection.
All right. And Mr. Bankowitz, other than this potential defense, if we picked a jury in 1 day, the state presented their case in 2.5 days, how long do you anticipate a defense presentation would be at this
I would
point?
say at least 3 days.
And of course, Bankowitz advises why there's been such delays, what happened. Fair enough, but why has he not contacted Sarah? Why has he not responded to her? Why did she not know all this? So she sat there in court and she's hearing it all. Sound like I'm sticking up for her again? I'm not. I'm just saying, just because she's wrong doesn't mean that he's right. He's not right. He's really bang out of order the way he's handling this case. I've noticed as well during this time that he's in court, he's got his back to the camera all the time. I mean, people don't have to go on LinkedIn, they can see who you are and what you look like. So I don't understand the point in that. But he's got his back to the camera all the time. So, yeah, he doesn't want... And he's already mentioned as well, hasn't he, that the attention that this case has got. So, yeah, you can tell he's not looking forward to this. But he's got this continuance and he's got what he wanted, and it looks like it's going to be July. I'm not going to give all these dates out because I'm fed up at giving these dates out. Oh, yeah, and by the way, the judge also is talking about how long he thinks it's going to take. He's asking the prosecution how long to present his case, and also Bankowitz, and obviously then there's jury selection as well. But going back to one of my earliest videos, I think one of the first videos that I did on this, they was talking about putting a three weeks aside for this case. This is when they was first getting dates, and straight away I thought they're not going to need 3 weeks for this case. It looks like now the prosecution is saying that they need about 3.5 days, and not sure if the judge had just pushed that down to 2.5 or something. I'm not sure. The Bankowitz is saying that he needs about 3.5 days, and then of course you've got jury selection. So it just looks like just over a week for that. So it looks like this judge is going to condense it. I don't think it is condensing it, to be fair, because 3 weeks. I think I said, well, I know I said 2 weeks at the most. So yeah, it's not. There's no way they're going to need 3 weeks, even with the witnesses. I couldn't see them needing that long.
So here's what I'm thinking. I'll grant the continuance. I'm thinking continuing out to the July 11th pretrial, July 24th trial period.
To advise the court, this case had to be continued at the last minute because of one of the attorney's wives had basically had a stroke. And so it was a week before we were scheduled to start in that case. But Judge Davis up there, now that has, I won't say resolved itself, but is in a better position. Judge Davis has advised all of us that we're going, quote, come hell or high water.
See, I try not to say things like that because I feel like I'm just tempting
Well,
fate.
that's just Lake County, Judge. What do you expect?
Well, all right, Ms. Boone, we return to the Orange County Jail pending further order of the court. And Mr. Bankowitz, you can electronically file the motion to continue,
Yes, sir, we will.
and the court minutes will say it's granted. All right,
Thank you, Judge.
have a good day.
You too.
Yeah, so it was just it was only a quick video just to cover what had happened today. Don't forget, I'm still covering other cases. If you've not subscribed yet, subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, let us know what you're thinking. At least now we know, well, I think, I said this before, didn't I? That I was a tidgy bit confident. I think it will happen in July, and I'm hoping that today the judge had a word with Bankowitz and said this can't continue. You know, like we can't still keep getting letters like this, because to be fair, he shouldn't be getting letters that her attorney isn't doing his job. That's not for the judge to sort out. So, and to be fair, the judge isn't sorting it out. He's pushing. It seems like he's pushing for it a bit there today, but it doesn't seem like he's been on Bankowitz's case at all. So I don't know. And they seem to know each other by some of the chat. But anyway, that was it. Yeah. Show you Sarah leaving court. She kept her mouth shut though, didn't she? She kept quiet. Yeah, I think it was a case, unless somebody said to her inside, just keep your gob shut. And she's trying to show the judge that, you know, she's a reasonable person. She just wants answers. I don't know. I didn't expect her to be that good. I expected her to try and say, you know, can I just speak with my attorney before I go or something, but she didn't. So anyway, so that's it. So I'm going to say good night, stay safe, take care, and come back. See you soon. Bye.